Hey there, and welcome back to the Tethered and Whole podcast. I'm Matt Weld. Since Niels Bohr was a physicist, he was likely thinking about universal truths like, something like light and gravity. But actually, his ideas become even more powerful when we pull them out of the laboratory and place them into the emotional landscape of human relationships. Because in real life, truth rarely arrives clean and singular. It shows up layered, complex, and often a little contradictory. Think about tough love, for example. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is hold someone to a high standard and expect their best. And other times, the most loving thing is to offer space, patience, and empathy. Both are true, even though they appear to cancel each other out. And if humanity is ever going to get along, especially in schools, we have to work to accept that what feels like the truth to us may look completely different from where someone else is standing. When we stop fighting over who is right, we can finally make room to discover what is true. When we loosen our grip on uncertainty, empathy can breathe. And when we allow more than one truth to exist, connection becomes possible. We see the same tension when it comes to pain and joy. What brings one person happiness might be a source of grief for someone else. Pick any holiday. Some people count down the days with excitement, while others wish it could just be erased from the calendar entirely. Neither experience is wrong. Both are valid. I learned this lesson firsthand when I was an assistant principal and we had a lunch lady. Let's call her Matilda. She was an older woman with a strong German accent who ran a very tight cafeteria ship, which, frankly, is necessary. It's a great skill to have in a junior high. Over time, friction developed between Matilda and some minority students, and conflicts kept landing in my office, with Matilda feeling deeply disrespected on one hand, and the students feeling singled out and targeted on the other hand. The uncomfortable truth was this: they were both right. Each was responding from their identity, history, and lived experience. The real work wasn't choosing sides. It was helping everyone step back, set aside personal affront long enough to ask a better question. Which rules were actually broken? Schools are healthiest when they can hold many truths without erasing any of them. Tima Okun reminds us that Western culture struggles with this kinds of thinking because we crave one answer, one solution, one version of the story, all of which pushes us into either-or thinking, especially in a fast-paced world where decisions are made quickly and often on incomplete information. Psychology offers a different lens through dialectical thinking, which assumes that tension is inevitable, everything is interconnected, and two opposing truths can be valid at the same time. Physics gives us a powerful analogy here as well. Bohr's principle of complementarity showed that light can behave as both a particle and a wave, depending on how it's observed. And quantum theory reveals that particles can exist in multiple states at once until observation collapses them into one reality. Human beings work much the same way. A student can be both defiant and deeply insecure. A teacher can be both exhausted and deeply committed. Teachers are dependently independent. Even our biology reflects this both and reality. We once believed the nervous system was either fight or flight or rest and digest, but newer research shows multiple systems operating simultaneously in shifting proportions. Less like a light switch and more like a pie chart. Balance, then, does not mean blending two sides into one new truth. If one side is red and the other is yellow, synthesis isn't orange. It's plaid or stripes or polka dots, where both remain fully themselves, all while coexisting. Resolution after conflict doesn't erase one truth in favor of another. It holds multiple truths together in shared understanding. In classrooms and communities, embracing both and thinking moves us out of judgment and into curiosity, out of certainty and into humility, and into relationships that are strong enough to hold complexity. A simple way to practice this with students is through the yes and game. It's from improv acting, where no one is allowed to shut down the story or correct the other person, only to acknowledge what's been offered and build from there. Because when we practice saying yes to someone else's reality before adding our own, we don't lose truth. We expand it. Thanks for tuning in this week. Until next time, stay tethered to what's true for you.